House impeachment investigators working over the weekend conducting a closed-door interview with Ambassador Philip Rieker. Democrats issued a subpoena to compel his testimony after the State Department directed him not to appear. Good evening, I'm John Scott. This is the Fox Report. The rare weekend deposition drawing fierce criticism from Republicans who say the Democrat-led investigation has lacked transparency. Republican Congressman Michael Waltz suggesting it's all part of the Democrats' strategy.
Every single hearing they're having down in this secure facility has been announced as unclassified. There's no reason he is having them down in this secure facility except to control the information that's coming out. But he leaves it unclassified so that he could selectively leak it to the media. At least the accused can have counsel present. The president currently can't have that, and the defense can call their own witnesses, and Republicans can't do that either. So this is a sham.
Rich Edson has the latest from the White House. Rich.
John, the State Department has objected to these sessions, urging top department officials to avoid and refuse to participate in them. The State Department, in this case, today with Acting Assistant Secretary of State Philip Rieker and other diplomats previously, asked them to skip these sessions, arguing there are no administration attorneys included in the conversations to protect their interests. In Rieker's and others' case, Democrats have issued subpoenas, though some have willingly testified, like the former U.S. ambassador to Ukraine, Marie Yovanovitch. Democrats are exploring her early removal. The administration recalled Yovanovitch as the president's attorney, Rudy Giuliani, and others argued she was undermining the president's agenda. This is all part of the congressional inquiry into whether President Trump withheld security assistance from Ukraine to pressure its new president to launch a politically motivated investigation into the Bidens. This morning, the president tweeted, quote, "The Ukraine investigation is just as corrupt and fake as all the other garbage that went on before it." This as congressional Democrats are looking for information, documents, as long as testimony from administration officials on their impeachment inquiry. John?
And regarding that inquiry, Democrats picked up a big win in court, huh?
They did. And on another thrust of this inquiry, this into whether President Trump obstructed the special counsel's investigation into Russian interference into the 2016 election. A federal judge has determined that the Department of Justice must turn over grand jury materials from the special counsel's investigation. Well, the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, Jerry Nadler, says, quote, "The grand jury information that the administration has tried to block the House from seeing will be critical to our work." The top Republican on that committee, Doug Collins, said in a statement, quote, "This ruling is dangerous for every American. The grand jury secrecy rules exist to protect innocent people against public disclosure of information and hearsay that could unfairly harm them. The administration can and is also expected to appeal that decision," John.
And Rich, the Justice Department investigation into the beginnings of the Mueller probe is also evolving.
It is. It's entering a new phase, one that is a criminal investigation. That's according to Justice Department officials. U.S. Attorney John Durham is leading that investigation into the origins of what eventually became Special Counsel Robert Mueller's inquiry, meaning this is a Justice Department review of itself where Durham can now subpoena witnesses and documents. President Trump and Republican allies charged the Mueller probe was a politically motivated investigation designed to damage the president and reverse the results of the 2016 election. The Democratic vice chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee, Mark Warner, says his committee, in a 3-year bipartisan investigation, has found nothing remotely justifying this criminal investigation. Warner says that Attorney General Bill Barr needs to appear before Congress on this matter to explain himself. John?
Rich Edson at the White House. Rich, thank you. Meanwhile, in California, about 940,000 customers are preparing to live without electricity until at least Monday. This as the state's largest utility company has begun a, quote, safety power shutoff. Right now, firefighters in Northern California are racing the clock to put out several devastating wildfires before the powerful Diablo winds pick up again. And in Southern California, the massive tick fire has already prompted widespread mandatory evacuations. Christina Coleman is live in Santa Clarita, close to where that fire is burning. Christina.
Well, John, as of right now, the TIG fire is 25% contained, and the firefighters tell me they have been able to stop it from spreading, but not before it caused severe damage like this. I mean, just go ahead and take a look at this house. You could see straight into it. All of that burned debris, the roof in some parts just completely gone. It is just incredibly heartbreaking. The TIG fire burned about 4,600 acres and damaged 18 structures. More than 40,000 people were under mandatory evacuation. Now, that evacuation has been lifted for about half of those residents. Now, I just had a chance to speak to a mother of 3 who evacuated before her house went up in flames.
Talking to some of our neighbors, they said that they got woken up at 2 a.m. by flames in their windows, you know, and kind of imagine that with the baby and 2 other kids.
So you're very glad you evacuated?
Very, very glad.
In Northern California today, the Sonoma County Sheriff's Office issued a mandatory evacuation order for residents impacted by the Kincade fire. Now, that fire is only 10% contained. The evacuation orders could affect approximately 50,000 people. They're ordered to evacuate before 4 o'clock this afternoon, so just within an hour from now, before utility company PG&E begins another large blackout tonight. Governor Gavin Newsom announced $75 million for local and state governments to mitigate the impacts of the power shutoffs. Here's what he had to say on Twitter.
These blackouts, particularly with PG&E, and the impact of that is unacceptable. We got to hold them accountable. We are going to do our best to get through these high wind events and work through Saturday, Sunday into Monday and get these lights back on.
PG&E admits a transmission power line malfunctioned just before the Kincade fire started, but the cause of that fire is still under investigation. But again, the mandatory evacuation is underway to try and prevent the devastating outcome of the wildfires that ravaged California wine country in 2017.
I think the message is pretty clear. Things are serious. They're very serious. It's calm right now with the winds and everything, but we need to evacuate.
We are in a position where we are reliving something, but we're ahead of it. It's going to test our resolve. Everybody in our community needs to get the heck out of the way of the first responders so they can do their job.
Now, the governor is expected to hold a press conference any moment now on the power outages. He's going to be holding that press conference in Napa. Meantime, state officials are going to continue to monitor these wildfires that have been spreading throughout the state. John?
Christina Coleman. Christina, thank you. The Diablo winds in Northern California and the Santa Ana winds in Southern California, both fueling those wildfires. And now millions in the state are bracing for what could be the strongest windstorm in years. Senior broadcast meteorologist Lauren Rainson is joining us with the forecast. Lauren.
John, good evening. Those red flag warnings remain intact for portions of California, even into Nevada, in addition to those high wind alerts. Even though, the winds have been trying to subside, they're going to be picking back up again, especially late Saturday night through Sunday. Below the canyons and passes, your AccuWeather local StormMax is calling for winds to blast up to 70 to 90 miles per hour. There are a couple of things to mention here with this next trough we are tracking that's sliding in from the north. Yes, it will bring about the cooler temperatures, much needed relief for all the firefighters. The bad news is that's the culprit for these winds to increase. Especially you're going to notice that late Sunday and into Monday. On top of that, dry air is dominating the southwest region, as indicated by the low dew point temperatures. As that trough is making its southward push, those winds will be ramping back up again. Note by late Monday to Tuesday, we get another brief window of opportunity for some relief as that offshore flow will continue to weaken just a bit. We still have a good amount of dry air in place, though, which is not good. Second trough will be moving on through again, helping to increase those winds. We're going to get back to that classic Santa Ana event Monday, and then again possibly Tuesday night and into Wednesday. Let's just say conditions, Mother Nature